Hi, folks. Thanks for spending some time with me again today. I think you're probably a tough guy if you're back here because these etudes from developed sight reading can be very frustrating and challenging. But for those of us who really are interested in developing, challenging ourselves to go to a higher level of skill, they can be really helpful. Unfortunately, most trumpet players like me are kind of meatheads. They would rather be just pounding the horn and making a lot of noise rather than spending the time it takes to really refine something. And especially, to be honest with you, I'd rather be out chopping wood because just getting the physical satisfaction of doing that work rather than spending a lot of time trying to learn new software. So I'm not a cerebral guy in that sense, and this takes a lot of brain work. So I'm going to try and play this through for you. This is number 29, and then go back and kind of pick up the pieces and make a few suggestions, maybe too many, but you can kind of pick through and find something useful for you. I hope that my approach will help you with your own work, especially when you're trying to put together something that's very, very complex, at least in some ways. Fortunately, we don't have too many high notes in this. Oh, by the way, I'm playing a C trumpet today, and this is a new horn. That's why I'm playing it, because I want to become accustomed to playing on this horn, and it's very different from other trumpets that I've had. I'm not going to go into the details of that right now, because I think I own 4 C trumpets right now. By the way, I realize that some of you can't afford a C trumpet or don't have a C trumpet. Many of you don't need a C trumpet. I've just played in the orchestra for so many years, I've gotten used to playing on it, and that's my main instrument. So please don't obsess about that. And I'll just let you know on a personal note that I could not afford to buy any trumpet for a long time. And I went through school with nothing but a B-flat trumpet and 1 mouthpiece, and couldn't afford to get anything else. And I didn't actually play on a C trumpet until I was halfway through my senior year. So those of you who are going through the difficulty of, I know it's a different subject, but the challenge of playing a C after you've played a B-flat for your whole life, I understand. Anybody who's gone through that understands. And I hope it doesn't bother you that I'm playing on a C, bother your ear, if you're looking at the notes and you're hearing different notes than you expect. But I need the work on this horn, and so any chance I get to play it is good for me. So thanks for being patient with that. It says allegro moderato. How do you choose a tempo? Well, I see a lot of 16ths and a couple of a little faster quick notes, but mostly it's 16ths. So I'm thinking, well, what's the tempo? Da 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 da. It's too slow. Da 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 da. It feels like allegro, not allegro moderato. So for me, it's a feel thing. It's like what feels right in the context of the music. So I'm going to choose a tempo around 90, I think. And we'll check it with the metronome later, but let's see if I can hold that tempo all the way through. I realize if you don't have the music, and I hope that you get it, that it'll be difficult for you to follow. Even if you do have the music, it might be difficult for you to follow. So be patient with yourself, and I'll try and slow some of these things down. I'll probably need to slow some of them down to practice them a little bit before we get too far. So here's my first attempt. my first reaction is, wow, that felt kind of slippery and I need a lot of work on that. And it was something like this. It's tricky enough. There are enough little rocks and roots to trip over in this as you go along that you really have to learn the trail pretty well. And that's a whole concept that's very important to keep in mind. We work on sections, and I'm going to do that right now. And then we try and link the sections together. And what most people do is they always play from the beginning. So I'm going to do something a little bit different and actually start at the end on this one. And then I'll try to start normally my practice. Once I've learned the piece and I think I know it pretty well, I'll try and memorize it if possible. This is a pretty difficult one to memorize. Puts a little strain on my brain because it doesn't make a lot of sense. It doesn't make sense orally, doesn't make sense with the harmony progressions, doesn't make sense with the timing. Very little of it makes sense. In other words, it doesn't fit into what we're used to in traditional music. But I'm always looking for the music. So I'm going to take a section, and it's hard to find a section here. I'm going to say the last 3 lines. So take a look at that if you have the book. And there we get into some mixed meter stuff. We're into mixed meters before that, but this is a good chunk to take. Let's see. And this actually starts in the bar before in a 3/8. So it's da-da, da-da, da-da. So that little transition between the 3/8 bar, which has 2 30-seconds at the beginning and 1/16 at the end, into the 2/4, that's the tricky part. 2/4 bar, that's the tricky part. But I'm going to start on the 2/4 because I need some relief right now. Whoops, goofed up. Now, part of what I'm struggling with here is visual. That's why it's called developed sight reading. There's some interesting things here. I can't talk about the details unless we could actually look at the music together, but what I'm doing to make it simple, I'll try and show you this. 5/8 bar at the end of the 3rd line from the bottom, last bar of the 3rd line from the bottom. I go into kind of a groove. And a groove is helpful because, in other words, you have a repeated rhythm. Most pop music is all about groove. You get in the groove and you stay there and it feels good because you know where you are. This music is kind of the opposite of that. There ain't no groove. So here we have a chance to get into one, but it's highly syncopated. What do I mean by a groove? Well, like I said, repetitive pattern. So I'm deciding to play the 5/8 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 1, all the way through. As long as I have a 5/8, that's what I'm going to do, at least in this section. And I'm going to try and stay with the groupings. So I'm going to try and conduct that for you, and I hope this helps you. I'll slow it down a little bit. So this is, again, last bar of the 3rd line from the bottom. 1, 2, 1. This is 1, 2, 3, 1, 2. So that's my pattern all the way through the 5/8. Oops, I goofed up my pattern. Now when I lose track of the 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, I've lost my sense of where the beats are. And then you can practice it like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Sounds a little bit like Jamie Aebersold. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Sorry, Jamie. Mechanical, like a metronome. So I'm going to try it with a metronome, and I'm going to put it, we'll see how close I am to the beat. I'm a little bit fast. That's okay. Here we go. All right, that felt more secure. That's why we use the metronome. Now, if I had a way of doing it on this metronome, I would set it up so it would go click 2, 3, click 2, click 2, 3, click 2, click 2, 3, click, so I could feel the groupings. And some of you may have metronomes like that. I have 2 or 3 metronome apps on my phone, but they have different purposes, and I don't think any one of them, I couldn't set any one of them up to play, to give me the right beat patterns for this piece. So what I do is what I just showed you. I put it on just the 8th note beat. That gives me a security. Now what most people have struggle with is as soon as they kind of feel like they're disconnected from the beat, your mind panics a little bit and you either kind of freeze slightly and lose the time, or you jump ahead and anticipate the time inaccurately. And you can feel when that's happening. So the first thing to do is put the horn down and see if you can do it. Ta 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 tia ta 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 ta. See what I'm doing? So I'm working hard in order to create those groups in my mind. And the reason is simple. It's a structure. It's like putting it in boxes, right? Then you have to have the line going through the middle. And that's where things get really interesting. You have a continuous line. It's not just 1, 1, 1, 1. It's 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 1, 1, 2, 3, 1, and 1, 2, 3, 1, and 1. So now you have the whole bar. 1, 2, 3, 1, and 1, 2. That gives you what I call an anchor point. And an anchor point is something where it feels like I know where I am. It's home base. If you don't have that, and many of you are probably experiencing this if you're working on this etude, you can feel like you're floating. And that's an uncomfortable sensation, and most people panic and rush, and other people, as I said, kind of, freeze during the headlights. And once you freeze for a millisecond, you've lost the sense of the tempo. It's all about staying with the flow. So unfortunately, they're written to mess your flow up. Now, there are so many details in something like this. We haven't talked about a lot of them, so I'll spend a few minutes talking about some of the oddities that you'll find in most of these etudes. Right where I started, in the 5/8 bar, last bar of the third line from the bottom, there are 2 staccato notes. And there are 2 staccato notes in the very last bar. And I'm looking through the piece, and I don't see any other staccato notes. There are some notes with tenuto markings on them. There are notes with accents on them. Cool. There are dynamic changes. All right. Interesting. Okay, but shouldn't there be a difference between staccato 8ths and regular 8ths, you might say? And the answer is yes. That's part of what sight reading is about. So I could be playing something like, so I'm separating all the notes. That's not wrong. What that actually does is it makes it easier to feel with my tongue the rhythm. And a lot of people are going to be doing that. That's not a wrong thing. It's just that your tongue tends to get tight when you're doing that. So if you keep it light, it's all good. Keep that flow easy and keep it light, you're all good. But if you're going and squeezing the air with your tongue, doesn't make for good trumpet playing, right? I think most of us know that. If you're not sure, check it out. Most people will find that they're holding a fair amount of tension in the tongue and in the throat when they're playing. Why? Well, if you're insecure about the rhythm, you're going to be holding on. That's that white knuckle effect, which I mentioned before. Now, I'm going to play the note lengths differently this time. What is a standard 8th note? I don't know. That's up for me to choose. What is a standard length 16th note? I don't know. So I could play, I'm going to play the 4th bar from the bottom. Now the last 2 notes that were supposed to be staccato, I played them full length. So I'm going to play a section of this with full length 8ths. You get the idea? It's a length. So I think of this as a bow. Now, why am I bringing this up in the middle of this etude? Because, there is a reason. Because let's say you're playing the violin, on the string, ta, 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 and you're changing bow direction, or not, the bow is starting up to speed and pressure, the tone blooms out of the instrument, and it's the same tone from the beginning to the end of the note, and it's rhythmic. Ta, ta, ta. So you're making rhythm with the releases. I mentioned this in some of the musical etudes that I've covered, the Potag and the Bourdonnais etudes. And anytime you're playing music, I find it very beneficial to feel the releases. When you're playing rhythmically challenging music, it's incredibly helpful to feel the releases, not just the beginning of the note. So I'm releasing the notes on purpose. And I do this not only with eighth notes, but with all notes. That doesn't mean you have to release it da, like a tongue stop or a throat choke on the note so that it's an abrupt release. It doesn't mean that at all. It means that mentally you're going the ear is stopping at a certain point. You could taper the note, you could play directly into it, you could stop it with your tongue. Please don't choke it with your throat. Please don't squeeze it off with your lips. But if you could stop it with the breath, just as if you were talking, ha, ha, that's the way to practice it. Again, it's the rhythm. You have to feel the rhythm of the release. When you do that, now you're staying connected to the flow of the line that's going all the way through. So you're not looking back, you're not paying attention to just what you're doing here. You're seeing where you're going and you're releasing on purpose going into the rest. If you do that just on simple things, I'll give you an example. So all I'm doing is playing a note. Same energy, same flow, immediately starting and immediately stopping. Good thing to practice. Check it out. That'll help you with this. Then if you go through and you play these things slowly, make sure you're playing full value notes. Now this sounds kind of picky. It is picky, but it helps you to see the target better. You see the target of the rhythm on the release as well as on the beginning of the note. Okay, dynamics we haven't talked about much, and they're challenging here. In the fifth line, you have a mezzo forte, then a crescendo on a 3/8 bar to forte, and then back down to mezzo forte subito. For most people, that's a difficult dynamic to do. So let's forget about the rhythm and just play the sound and the shape of the line and the dynamics. So I'm going to start fifth line. See, I'm skipping around in the piece. I do this a lot. Oh, that's weird. So when I listen to that, I'm going like, could I sing that? That's another way I practice big time. Now, if you can't sing it, you can whistle it, you can buzz it on the mouthpiece. Even if you have piano keyboard skills, play it on a keyboard. It makes it easy with C trumpet because I'll be playing in the right key on the piano if I play the same notes. It's so important to get this into your ear because when you're concentrating on ear stuff and suddenly you're having trouble, it may be because you're concentrating on rhythm rather, and then you're having trouble with the rhythm. It may be because you're not actually hearing the notes. So physically you're getting tighter because you're not sure of where the notes are. I'm going to play that again. Thank you for allowing me to practice in public here because that's basically what I'm doing. I'm going to look for the intervals. I'm going to try and taste the intervals. Now, to me, that section of the piece that I just played from the 3/8 in the middle of the sixth bar, I guess it is, fifth bar, that's the most difficult part of the piece for my ear. It's just like shifting, slipping and sliding through unknown harmonies all over the place. You're playing in several different keys, it sounds like, major, minor. It's very confusing. And I'm an ear player, so when I hear that, it's like, what? That's something to realize. That will contribute to your lack of security when you're playing these things. And that's going to influence your time. You'll get tight, hesitate, like I said, or jump a little bit, panic a little bit, and no wonder it's hard to play. So all these things have to become easier and clearer in your mind. Now when I've got the notes, then I can decide, okay, let's call that mezzo forte. It's adjustable, and dynamics have to do more with, I like to think of them more as having to do with your expressive attitude. What is the emotion behind it? So this sounds rather cheerful. And then it's a little bit more celebratory when it goes into the forte. See, I'm not thinking about loud and soft. I'm thinking about what does the music, what kind of energy does it have? And a lot of that energy is emotional. Now, I know this is a whole topic unto itself, and one that is very dear to my heart, but it helps me to play musically without forcing the sound. Most trumpet players, when they see piano, they choke and hold back. They kind of leak the air out, and when they see double forte, they try and jam more air through the horn, and that causes a tremendous amount of problems in terms of your skill. What does that have to do with rhythm? Anything that causes an imbalance so that you feel like you're out of control contributes to your lack of success in being able to play the written music. So that goes back to our basic technique stuff. But I find the dynamics, if I just leave them out the first time through, when I'm singing, I don't worry about the dynamics. But then I'm going to add those in. I'm going to add other details like accents and the staccato and standard notes that I just talked about a little while ago. So I think you can see that there are many technical challenges, but most of these challenges are perceptual. They have to do with, am I hearing that? That's a good time to record yourself. What is actually happening? What's actually coming out the bell? You realize as a trumpet player, you're behind the sound, so you can't really hear what it sounds like. That's another reason why I'm doing this. I want to know what this horn sounds like, with different mouthpieces that I'm trying in order to, what it sounds like to the microphone at least. I know it's not the real sound, but at least it'll give me some clues as to what's going on. But the point is you can't really hear what you sound like from behind the horn. So you have to learn what it sounds like out there, get good feedback from your very musical friends, and record yourself with good equipment if you have that opportunity, so that you can say, oh, I didn't know I was doing that, and make the necessary corrections. Okay, I think as I usually do, I've gone way too long on this, but I'm trying to pack in some stuff that if you unpack it and apply it to your playing, is going to be very helpful for you to develop the skills you need to play at a high level. And if anything I'm saying if you apply it and you find that you're having good luck with it, please explore the rest of the content on my channel. You'll find something there that's useful, I hope. And let me know if any of this stuff blesses you in your trumpet adventure. And hopefully I'll see you later on. If you haven't done so already, remember to subscribe. This is the first time I think I've asked people to do that. But that can help me, and I hope it will help you too, because I put out a fair amount of new material. So stay with me, and I'll catch you on later sometime when you're free. Have a great day. Bye-bye.